I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. Welcome to the
Thank you.
Black Media Matters Studios.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, this is a big deal for us, by the way.
It's big for me.
This is a big, and yeah, like wow, you look amazing.
Thank you. We represent.
Yeah, man, you don't
Come on.
coordinate. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, so many different things to talk to you about. I know that you're here for the Here for Us Wall campaign. People saw the ad there, and we'll play it again here in a little bit. But you know, you came on my radar as a journalist when you caught COVID.
Yeah.
And you were, to be honest with you, at the time, there was a lot of misinformation out there. Like, man, there's an old white people disease. Black people don't get COVID and everything else. You were the first person to, even for me, that was like, yo, this is real.
Very much. I remember when I first was diagnosed with COVID, and I was like, I'm not supposed to catch it. You know, really in my mind, I was thinking I wasn't supposed to catch it. I've been careful. I've been doing this, you know, and like they were saying, you know, this ain't for the Black people, but it's so real. I just want that to be known. It's very real. And it caught me off guard, to be truthful. And then it knocked me down quickly. And I've been through a lot in my life. So to be knocked down like that and to be isolated, I was isolated. Like my children couldn't come around because, like you said, it was near the beginning and we didn't really know, and I didn't know who it would affect. And I was at home alone, feverish, sick, and really thinking hard about what I had done up until that point in my life. You know, like not being morbid, saying, you know, I'm about to die right now, but realizing that there were numbers of people that had died, and there was a possibility that you could live or you could die. And what did I want to do with that information?
Wow. Yeah, it was I remember reading it, and it's like, oh, prayers up. And I'm like, and let me tell you something though. And now that I'm actually seeing you in person 2 years later, right? Is that when you got COVID, it transitioned me as a journalist of kind of like monitoring everything, and I don't think we had started the Morning Update Show yet. But I dug deeper, and then I went and I was like, well, hold up. And I saw in Milwaukee, there was an exploding number of Black people with COVID and all these other places with COVID. And it changed the way that I looked at it. I started writing articles then about like, hey, hold on, this thing is disproportionately hitting Black people. So you actually getting COVID like changed my viewpoint and actually, changed our reporting, and we went much deeper. And then when we got on air, we found Black doctors to talk, because we had to find culturally relevant people to talk to our community. And I think that, I'm glad that you're here, and I'm sorry you went through it, but you getting COVID, I think shifted the mindset in our community. Like, we can get COVID.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful that it affected you that way, because, I was told, Josie, you don't have to tell people you got COVID. That's a personal thing. That's about, you don't have to share it. But my thought was get on social media. Let people know, because someone asked me, so how did you get it? I don't know. Where did you get it? I don't know. But I'm in the community all the time, and it's my responsibility to let people know, because I had been everywhere. I need to let people know that I have COVID. I've hugged people. I've been around people. I've touched people. I've been in rooms with people. I've been in closed corners with people, and it's my responsibility not for me to sit at home and not want somebody to know, because I'm not the disease. I just had it. So I shouldn't be ashamed to let somebody know. Matter of fact, if it could help somebody. And so when I got on, I used my Facebook and I used my social media and anything else. And I called some people and I just let them know, hey, this is what's happening to me. And I got on it on days that I looked halfway presentable. I didn't get on it on days when people probably would have been showing up at my door, because I didn't want people to feel sorry or really worry about me. I just wanted them to be awake. I wanted them to know this is real, this can happen. This is not a hoax that the government is doing. It's really happening. And if you don't believe things, that somebody else, I need you to know that I'm telling you for a fact that I don't have a cold. This thing is kicking my butt. And I am making arrangements to make sure that my stuff is in order. That's how bad it was for me. And I'm just grateful because I was told go to the hospital, and I made up in my mind, if anything gonna happen to me, it's gonna happen to me in my house. Because anybody that knows me knows, and it's bad to say it, I'm not proud of it. You usually have to call the ambulance before I go in. That has changed in my life. I seek out medical advice more now.
Yeah, the thing is that even now, there's a lot of people that I know personally who didn't have that level of courage that you had to say, like, hey man, I've got it. Because we're 2 years later now. There was a lot of stigma around COVID, a lot of stigma in our community. I mean, nationwide, but specifically in our community, there's a lot of stigma.
Yeah.
And it's like, and there was a lot of people who got COVID and went on with their life, or didn't tell people, or didn't come out, or didn't try to share. And so I just want to acknowledge that was, that what you did in making and letting people know really actually did have an impact. And like I even shared, it had an impact with me.
I'm so grateful because I know some people that didn't tell people, and you just see them out and about. You thinking, for real though? It's like it's our responsibility to take care of one another, and whether you believe that somebody is telling you the truth, whether it be government or the doctors or anything, when you know better, you should do better.
Right. And you got vaccinated.
Yes.
Right. And so one of the things that I wanted to bring up with you is that there's a lot of people who did get COVID who are like, I got COVID, so I'm not going to get vaccinated. Mm-hmm. You got COVID. You got through COVID. Why did you decide to get vaccinated?
So I got COVID, and it lasted for 3 months, and I had all of the things. They just stayed with me. Even after I didn't have COVID, I couldn't breathe, and I had trouble sleeping, and all kind of different things was happening, and I was presented the opportunity to get the vaccination when it first came out, and I didn't. I mean, I waited a long time. But I am a woman of faith. And even to what I was going to wear today, I try to make sure I ask God, what should I do? Because when I go out the door, I'm going out not just for me. I'm going out to be amongst everybody else. And I really prayed, and I really studied, and I really searched, and I'm gonna tell you this: the more research I did, the more confused I got. It was one on this side, it was something on this side, it was something on this side, and then I just said, truthfully, Omari, the same God that could keep me if I didn't get it is the same God that could keep me if I got it. So I'm gonna go because it was an unction on me. One day I was at work, and I spoke. It just came out, and I just spoke to said, "Hey, you still got that vaccine?" And they was like, "Yeah, you can come in." And it was the next day they told me to get it, and I was like, "So I'm okay with that." But I do want to say that was my journey for me.
Well, I would say this though, is that I'm glad that you're sharing that journey, because there's a lot of people who might feel in a similar sense, like, oh, well, I got it. And then the public reaction might be like, oh, well, you need to go get the vaccine immediately, but that's not always everybody's journey to getting vaccinated. There's people who've had it and are still hesitant. A lot of people confused because the information is confusing, and it's not just on the local Facebook page. Even some of the things, the CDC says this, the CDC says that, CDC says this, CDC says that. But it looks like it was your own study and your own relationship, your own spiritual relationship that ultimately led you to it.
It was. And I know I had somebody say, you were worried about losing your job. Anybody that knows me knows I'm not worried about losing a job. I go to work for benefits. But for years, all I did was music, or all I did was the theater or public. So I'm not worried about, truthfully, my job is not what sustains me anyway. So it wasn't that, and that had not even come up yet when I got it. It had not even come up that if you don't get it, you can't work at some place. And, because if I hadn't got it and they told me to leave, I'd have said, bye, it's been real, I just believe that, just like with this, I could be in a house, right? We could be in the same house and I could smoke cigarettes, right? And it could put some damage on me, but it might give you cancer.
Right.
So the same thing that affects me might not affect you, and the same thing that doesn't affect me might affect you. So you have to. It's a personal. Searching, asking questions, seeking. For me, praying. For those of faith, praying, and really deciding. Just make the choice. And once you make the choice, know this: my choice affects you and everybody else. So if you don't get it, if you do get it, I still wear my mask. I still, when I'm other people, I make sure everybody is okay, but I still do the things that is necessary in order to keep people, because I still don't know, but I'm okay with what I chose.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the stuff around COVID was, one, the protection of ourselves, but two, how do we protect other people, right? And it's like, even with the mask might not necessarily protect you. It's about protecting other people and other people in the space. I want to talk to you about this Here For Us. About the campaign. Okay. Actually, we're gonna play the.
Go ahead.
We're gonna play the clip right here. We'll talk about it.
My name is Josephine. I live in Renton, Washington. I am a singer, and I use the arts as a way for me to elaborate on all the concerns of our community. I ended up with COVID, and it impacted my life greatly. I was told sometimes to rest, but resting felt like I would die. I was told to lay down, but laying down flat took my breath away. Even after getting COVID, I still did not want to have anything to do with the vaccination. There was much fear in the African American community, and no one should react out of fear. Before you do anything, pray. And make sure that you're praying to get the answer and not praying to get your answer. Since I received the vaccination, I've been able to breathe. Reconsider asking yourself why you are hesitant, because it wouldn't come up if it didn't need to come out. I'm telling you to stand and make a choice. We'll be all right.
All right. Look at you. You know what I'm saying? A commercial is very nice. As somebody it was in TV, this is very nice. A few questions. Why did you decide to take part in this campaign? And second question is, how has it been for you?
So I got a call. I was asked to be a part of this because I was one of the ones that was hesitant. I was one of the ones that didn't want to have anything to do with it. And then I changed my mind and received the vaccination. And up front, I was just like, yeah, I could do that because that was my choice, and I just wanted people to hear the reason why I did it. And for me, it's some people have been very disappointed.
Really?
Very disappointed. because the truth of the matter is they believe that I'm pushing something, and I'm just telling you about me. I'm I need somebody might be, thinking about it and worrying about it and saying no because somebody else said no. And I'm just saying, I had to do some things for me. Some people were just some people have actually spoken out like, you swallowed the Kool-Aid. No, it didn't taste like Kool-Aid. It wasn't liquid. It was a shot. I'm not I'm not telling someone to do it, and I'm not telling someone not to do it. I just need you to know that I understand the struggle, the fight, the thought of not doing it.
Right. And I think that that's probably one of the most important things of it. We're here on Converge, we like to say that we've, for 2 years now, and we're, at least since the vaccine came out, so over a year and some change, we like to leave space and grace, right? And this is what's kind of made us a little bit different here, at least I think, is that even when a lot of the communications come out about COVID, and a lot of the communication was about shaming. It was like, oh, well, you haven't got the vaccine. I was like, there's absolutely no way we're putting anything on air that's going to shame people in our community, that's going to put them in a box and everything else. And we want to be able to leave a lot of space and grace for people out there who have questions about the vaccine. I think it's important, somebody like you, who are like, man, you know what? This was my journey. Does my journey sound familiar to yours? Oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? You might pop in, because that's a unique one in the sense that, one, you came out publicly. You were, like you said, in Seattle, you were probably one of the first well-known Black people to come out and say, hey, I've got COVID. So you came out, but then after getting COVID and it impacting you and looking like you had some signs early on of maybe having long COVID, you were still hesitant about the vaccine. And then you went and did your research, got even more confused. And then you was just like, okay, what I need to do?
Can I get an answer?
Yeah, and it's crazy because, unfortunately, as Black folks, we live in this space of this absence of trust, that there's so many different things pushing against us. And my daughter, who she got vaccinated, but she was somebody who was initially hesitant, this and that. She did a lot of, she's a big researcher. She ended up getting vaccinated. And her whole thing is like, there's a lot of misinformation out there as well, because Black people are dying at a higher rate.
Oh my goodness.
Latino people dying at a higher rate. We don't see it here in Seattle. Seattle, we're in a bubble. Right, Seattle, coming from the Central District, right next to the Central District, you're close to world-class healthcare. Up there, up Pill Hill. That's not the reality for Black people in a lot of America, especially down south. I went to a lot of funerals, COVID-related funerals, and everything else, and people don't realize here the big impact that COVID has had on Black communities across America.
They don't realize it, and I'm so glad you said that, Omar, because in 2.5 years, I have sang for more funerals than I've sang in my entire life. And I have a really good friend, Paul Richardson, and he was my keyboard player. And he was saying, well, so what's going on with you? And I was telling him, I got this heaviness, right? I don't know. I just don't feel like, even going out the door, when the phone ring, I don't even want to answer it because I know it's bad news. And he helped me identify, you're used to singing for graduations and weddings and celebrations, and all you're singing for right now is loss. I would be on the phone. They have the phone up to their loved one, that was in the house. Or I would ask, I could even ask some of the hospitals, can you just get a call through? Can you just stand there? I want to sing for somebody or say some words, because families couldn't come in. We would go out to people's houses and stand outside and sing at people's houses. And it was affecting us. My family is in Chicago, and it was so many people dying. We was just every week we were having death. But some people were thinking it wasn't touching the Black community, and I was thinking, what?
It was Seattle was in a bubble.
Yeah.
Seattle is 100%. Like I can tell you, it's in a bubble here.
Mm-hmm.
COVID ravaged the Black community
Yes, it
in
did.
deaths. It ravaged the Black community in closed businesses.
Mm-hmm.
It ravaged our community just in the sense of future generational wealth.
Yes.
We've been disproportionately impacted by COVID. Man,
and our children.
Yeah.
Our children were separated, isolated in homes with frustrated, confused, and anxious parents. And they were just, some of them were educated on some of it, but they still the capacity to understand what's really going on. They never seen this before in their time, and we hadn't seen it before in our time. It affected us in a whole lot of ways.
Before we let you go, maybe you can, if you want to update everybody, what are you doing musically and everything else? I mean, things have opened back up.
Yeah.
Tell us what's going on with you on the music front.
So on music, I'm singing. I've been doing a lot of private functions, but I love, not that I don't like private functions, but I love the public. So I love being out and about with the public. And so I've been working with, collaborating with a lot of different artists and just working, writing. So grateful to be writing. That's something that COVID did do. So in a sense, COVID kind of saved my life because I was going like, and I had to slow down. And writing, doing collaboration with the dance theater, with Spectrum Dance Theater, and with people in different states. It's just been, it's wonderful. And watching the change of artists, their mindset, their heart, like the consciousness of why they have the platform. I love that.
That's great. Is there any social media or website or anything you want to
Yeah,
where
I
people can
have
follow you?
JosephineHowell.com, and then Josephine Howell Productions is my production company, and I help people. If you have a dream that you want to do, I can help you put it together. Or I can tell you, yeah, you probably need to do that in 2 years because you don't have the budget, but we can work through a whole lot. Yeah, and Facebook, of course, but I'm a people person, right? I like to just be out and about and be with people. So that's about it.
Fantastic. With Josephine Howell, thank you so much for
You are
joining us
more
this
than
morning.
welcome. Thank you for having me.